Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 212. Andrew Eisen is here. Andrew Eisen is back. Because I was gone last weekend. I had stuff to do, but before I get to that, I want to talk about Gem and the Holograms. Now, if you have been paying attention to my YouTube channel for the past 7 months or however long it's been, I've been doing a video diary of sorts called A Middle-Aged Man Watches Gem and the Holograms, in which I watch an episode of Gem and the Holograms and then I record my reaction to it. I'm almost done. I think there's only like 6 episodes left. And I've seen all the episodes now. I've filmed my reactions. I'm in the process of editing the final videos. And I was very unhappy to discover that the last 3 videos, the raw footage of my reaction, my review, if you want to call it that, is corrupt. The audio file is fine. I record that separately, so the audio is good, the video is kerputz, and I can't really recover or fix it. So, I was thinking, golly, what do I do? Well, I could just release a video that's just audio, kind of a podcast thing. Lindy, lyrically, hello. Um, Yeah, I mean, I have the files. They're just, I brought them onto my computer, loaded them into my video editor. They worked. Then I deleted them off my card. Then weeks later, when I got around to editing them, they don't work. They don't play. That blows. So I could just do the last 3 episodes are like the podcast version, but I don't really want to do that. That's not visually interesting. I could just re-record them. But the point of the series is my immediate reaction to the show. And I I don't know, it just kind of feels wrong to redo my reaction weeks later. So what I've been experimenting with today, so I made a video for nothing because the thing didn't work. Well, I mean, I still have some raw materials I can use. The audio is fine. So essentially, what I've been working on is the last 3 videos are going to be what they are. They're just me talking on the couch with footage from the show spliced in. So now what it's going to be is kind of a slideshow of my various facial expressions with footage from the show cut in. So instead of me being animated, it's picture, picture, jumps between frames because that's all I can use. I thought, you know what I could do? I could just record myself pantomiming to the original audio, but that would be like watching a dubbed film and my mouth wouldn't be matching the dialogue. That would be really awkward. I thought, okay, I could wear like a mask, a face covering, but that's covering half my face. And a lot of most of the emotion and stuff is up here, but a lot of it is in the lower half of the face. So uh, there's no real ideal, but it is what it is. Also, it's a lot more work now to fix that. I mean, a part of me is like this: just re-record them. No one will ever know if you don't say anything. Um, but it is the way it is. 2 of the videos throughout the series, the sound didn't record, so I had to use the on-camera sound, which, I mean, it's there and I can clean it up a bit in Audacity, but it's not ideal. I did have... What's interesting is episode 63, the third to last, was already a reshoot because my camera didn't record the first time. So that was all... So the audio that I still have is actually a redo because I had to because the video flat out didn't record. I don't know if I double clicked on the on the record button or what, but so it's interesting. I re-recorded a video and then that file got corrupt along with two others. Eh, oh well. So getting towards the end of that, I may actually, especially with the Extra Life charity event coming up in 2 weeks, I may have to skip a week just to get these done. We'll see. Um, yeah, it's one. Well, I mean, 65 lyrically C says that is so weird. It's like it's yeah. I mean, I did 65 videos and three of them got kind of crapped, so it happens. I should watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That's a good show, and if you don't know, I can tell you. I did a debut review for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recently, like within the last 2 months, I think. You can find that on my YouTube channel. JoJo's debut review. Just search for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure debut. Actually, YouTube will probably bury it. So let me just give you a link for convenience sake. Doopy doopy doo. Bum bum bum. There you go. Fair warning, I didn't like it at all. Like, it is one of, if I were to rate all the shows I've debut reviewed over the last few years, that would be among the bottom. I really did not take to that first episode. Interestingly, though, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has a very big, enthusiastic fan base. A lot of people love that show. But what I found was actually really nice and encouraging is the fan base really wasn't as a lot of fan bases can be, and especially with things like anime. The JoJo fans were very polite. No one was like, "Oh, you suck and your taste is terrible and how dare you besmirch the wonderfulness of JoJo," or whatever. No, everyone was like, "Yeah, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I love the show. It's one of my favorite shows, but yeah, I mean, the first episode, maybe start with season 3, you know?" So, um, um, I actually had a few people suggest maybe you should do a debut review for each for the first episode of each season of JoJo, because all the different seasons or stories or series or whatever, however they're uh, demarcated, are very, very different from one another. Um, in fact, from what I understand, like the third one is the like fighting anime one that everyone's familiar with the stands, the little ghost things that hang out behind you. Um, so maybe I'll do that, but I don't know. Uh, I don't know. But yeah, I was my favorite thing about JoJo was the fans were just really accommodating and polite, and I had a lot of JoJo fans who were just more than willing to hop in the comment section and take the time to describe at length what they liked about the show, and I find that absolutely fascinating. I I'm always kind of bummed out when I don't like something, but I do, especially when it's something that so many other people really, really like. But I do very much enjoy learning what it is about a show that connects with other people, even if it doesn't connect with me. So, anyway, Gem, JoJo, where's my topic list? Oh, okay. So you may have noticed I was missing last weekend. I did not do the podcast, did not do the Sunday stream. Speaking of which, I better figure out what the hell I'm streaming tomorrow, because I still don't know. I've been busy with stuff. Man, life is busy, man. So, last weekend, I went to out of state to help a friend with some stuff. Can't really, private thing, can't really go into more than that. But a friend of mine needed help, and so I provided what help I could. Um, Being that we're in the middle of a pandemic, that was kind of a concerning thing because she lives out of state. Well, she lives in a different state from me, and she has three children. So three young children. So I mean, the last thing I want to do is you know be an asymptomatic carrier and get her or any of her kids sick. So I was talking to her about it, and we while it's traveling out of state and visiting people is not the safest thing you can do, we did it as safely as we possibly could. She stays at home, doesn't even have a car. She orders all of her stuff online. Whenever she does go out, she always wears a mask. I actually do. I have to go into the office occasionally, and I do shop at the grocery store. So there's that. I got a COVID test before I left. Made sure I was negative before I left. I drove, in my car, which is safer than planes or trains or buses or whatever. So while the safest thing to do would be to not travel and not visit people, we were as safe as we possibly could have been. So I went out there and provided the assistance she needed, and then I left. And as I was driving home, I was probably 45 minutes away, nearly an hour away, and I turn around to check behind me so that I can safely change lanes. And in the back seat, I see a car seat. This is not mine. My butt's not that narrow. This is her car seat. Uh, she and the kids and I went hiking Saturday morning, or afternoon, whatever, doesn't matter. And so she put the car seat in the car and the stroller in the car and buckled the kids in, and we went hiking, and that lasted about 7 minutes before they wanted to go home because it's Arizona, it's hot. Um, and we thought, okay, we'll try and come back like 6 in the morning when it's not so blisteringly hot. But when I drove home, I did remember to get the stroller out of the trunk, but I just did not see the car seat. So now I have a car seat that I don't need, and now she doesn't have a car seat that she, well, technically doesn't really need because she doesn't have a car, but still, um, no way it's hotter than San Antonio, Texas. Don't know. It's hot everywhere. It's hell. Actually, it was really hot in San Diego as I was leaving because we were suffering a heat wave too. Matthew says overnight it. I called her. I pulled off the road and called her and said, "Hey, I just drove off with your car seat. Do you want me to come back?" And she said, "No, it's fine." So now I have a car seat. It doesn't fit my fanny. Maybe I should steal someone's child just so I have some use for it. Um, so, oops. I mean, you're supposed to take only memories, but I took a car seat. So, the following Tuesday, so I was there during the weekend. I came back Sunday night. Tuesday, I had to go in the office to clean out my desk because we are now permanently working from home. So I had to go into the office and grab all of the crap in my cube and bring all of it home. And Can you see any of it behind me? Um, eh. You see this right here is a chair. You can see some computer crap on the floor, box of stuff. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going to put that. So, anyway, knowing I have to go into the office to clean out my desk, not because, again, I'm not fired. I'm very fortunately employed. We're working from home permanently now, so I had to move all of my crap home. Um, so I go out to the car to get the baby seat out of it because I know I'm going to need the room to bring home more computers and more monitors and more terminals and the binders of crap, which are barcodes for all of our customers, sample barcodes and stuff, which is actually pretty handy for me because I don't have a printer, so I can't just generate a barcode sheet without going somewhere. I came home with her diaper bag too. This was on the floor of the passenger seat. I didn't see it until Tuesday morning. Um, it's a nice bag. Um, it's got diapers. Um, it's got a plastic bag for poopy diapers. Not even sure. I I don't even know what this is. It's not open. Feels like it might be wet wipes. Um, got a shorts and a shirt. You know, because kids like to poop all over themselves. Children. What else do I got in here? It's a ticket to something. This is a baggie of baby formula. So mix that with water and you got food. So, oops. So I had to call her again, or texted her or whatever, and say, hey, remember when I wandered off with your car seat? Yeah. Yeah, I took your diaper bag too. um, whoops. um, Not as big a deal, but in the seat, um, this is one of the kids' wood blocks. I guess one of them had it in the car and just left it because I found it between the seats. So I came home with one of the kids' blocks too. So I've now got a car seat, a wooden block, and a bag of diapers. um, that's the lot. I didn't steal anything else. Thank God I didn't accidentally wander off with one of her kids. I totally would have turned around and returned it because I don't want it. Um, uh, she was very understanding, very polite. She says, "Andrew, I've got three kids. Um, I've got diapers out the wazoo. I'm not really gonna miss four diapers." So, um, it's not like she's horribly inconvenienced now, but I have no use for this stuff. Uh, but other than that, it was a nice trip. Um, it was nice to see her again. I haven't seen her she's an old college friend of mine. I haven't seen her in like ooh, 3 years, 3.5 years, something like that. Been a little while. So I haven't seen anyone. I mean, since this entire year, I hadn't seen her in a long time. And, uh, and uh, 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 and I was able to help her with what she needed. I apologize for being vague. It's a personal thing, but I was able to help her with what she needed help with to her satisfaction at least. And she was lying to my face. She's like, "Oh no, big help, super big help. Couldn't have done it without you." So so that was my weekend, and that was why I didn't have a podcast or a stream last weekend. So I apologize for that, but I had to go help a friend, and by help a friend, I mean steal her stuff. Damn it! Oh. I was so proud of myself for remembering to get the stroller out of my trunk before I left. I was like, "Good job, Andrew. that's using the noggin." All right, bye. Dum dee dum dee dum. An hour later. Oh shit! Got car seat in the back. How did I not see that? 2 days later. Oh no! Diaper bag. Yeah. I'm a good friend, but keep an eye on your stuff. Because I'll walk off with it, even the stuff I don't need. I have a splitting headache. I really do. Uh, Probably stress. Got the Extra Life charity event, which is 2 weeks. You'd see the logo here. I would have had that up actually last week, but couldn't read any of this because of the light flare on my wall, so I had to put a black box behind it. But 20 for those of you who don't know, 24-hour video game marathon to raise money for Rady Children's Hospital. Starts at noon Pacific Standard Time on Saturday, November 7th, and going to be playing a bunch of games. Got a bunch of cool incentives, like donors can submit courses for Super Mario Maker 2 for me to play, even Super Worlds if you donate $50. I'll also be playing Breath of the Wild, and you can name a horse for a $50 donation. Limit 4 left. I only got 5 horses in the game, so someone's claimed one already. So one of the horses is going to be named Radish. We've raised 170. Most of the donations come in the couple of days leading up to the stream and during the stream, but we've already raised $170, so doing well so far. So I also put out a video yesterday. I think I'll be playing a Ring Fit Adventure, and the more money we raise, the more weights I'll slap onto my wrists and ankle, and got a weight vest and stuff. And I've got a lot of weight, so if we raise a lot of money, that is going to be a very painful game to play, but it should be really funny. So, so keep an eye on my YouTube channel. I'll have some more announcements and stuff in the coming weeks. And if you can't wait that long, go to this page right here, and you can see all the stuff I'm doing. So, I hope you can. So there won't be a podcast that weekend, but I hope you'll be able to hang out and kick some coin over to Rady Children's. They can always use the money, especially this year with the pandemic. So it's a lot of fun. So I hope you'll join me. Unfortunately, I won't have any guests this year, but again, because it's not really safe to travel. But hopefully we'll see Super Metal Dave and my sister in the chat at some point in the evening. Lyrically, he says, I saw the video I did, the Ring Fit Adventure video. So that's a lot of weight. Yeah. Yeah, it's... let's see, the weight vest is 20 pounds, I think. Yeah, I think it's 20 pounds. The one set of wrist weights is 5. One set of ankle weights is 5. No, they're 2.5 each, so the total is 5. One set is 10. Another set's 10, and one set's 20, I think. I'd have to look at them again. But yeah, it's a fair amount of weight. I mean, just try holding your arms out and then put a weight on your uh, wrists. Even with not much weight, doing that for any length of time does get difficult. So if we raise a bunch of money, get ready to laugh at me struggling and sweating and probably crying and cursing. So it'll be fun. The Extra Life charity event's always a lot of fun. Let's see, what else do we got here? So let's. I only have one real news item to hit today. I forget where I saw this. Before I get that, lyrically says, "Do I use them for lifting on different days?" No. I use the vest for because for the last since the pandemic started, I have not been going to the gym. Um, so I've not been able to touch heavy weights because I don't own any. I've actually been trying to buy some, but you can't. I mean, the cheapest I've seen one 45-pound plate go for is like over $200, and I'm not paying that much. I mean, I would like to get a bench and a weight set for my home, but you just can't right now. I've even tried auctions for gyms that went out of business, and that stuff is just going for like three times its regular price. People are buying plates for hundreds of dollars, so it is what it is. But for the last 7, 8 months or whatever, I've been relegated to cardio and floor exercises. So I do wear the weight vest while I'm doing floor work, and so wearing a weight vest while you do squats and pull-ups and push-ups and stuff like that can help add a little bit of resistance rather than just doing pure body weight. So that helps a little bit. But even so, I've lost a little over 10 pounds in the last since March. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much of the mass I've lost translates into strength. So whenever I get my hands on actual weights again, actual heavy weights, it'll be like, oh my god, I can't lift at all. Do you lift, bro? I used to, I swear. Um, so, but yeah, I use the weight vest for just general body weight, and the ankle and wrist weights. Um, Same thing with the wrist weights. The heavier ankle and wrist weights are better for uh, like leg lifts and stuff. The ones where you're lying on the floor and you lift your legs, like V sits and stuff. They're good for that. It looked like I bulked up in the video. Okay, thanks. Um, yeah, I've actually lost a little bit of size over the this year. So I used to be um, like 222 somewhere around there, like in the 222 to 223 4 range usually. Now I'm weighing in about 211, 212. So yeah, I mean I'm not unhealthy. I'm just not as bulky as I used to be. Oh well. Um, oh well. So here's a little bit of news. On Twitter, where we should all get our news, a gentleman by the name of Alex Hutchinson had a perspective that he felt like sharing with us. Mr. Hutchinson says, streamers, video game streamers, people who stream games online, like me. Streamers worried about getting their content pulled because they used music they didn't pay for should be more worried by the fact that they're streaming games they didn't pay for as well. It's all gone as soon as publishers decide to enforce it. The real truth is the streamers should be paying the developers and publishers of the games they stream. They should be buying a license like any real business and paying for the content they use. That is a take. And as you might expect, Twitter broadly was not impressed with that take. I can't say I completely agree with it either, so allow me, if I may, to offer my 2 or 3 cents. I, as a gamer, and a gamer who streams, take umbrage with the points in his take where he says uh, they're streaming games they didn't pay for. Also, they should be buying a license like any real business and paying for the content they use. I do. When I buy the game, I bought the game. I own it. So now I understand that maybe that's not enough, or maybe you don't think that my purchasing a video game entitles me to stream it online. I don't agree, but okay. But I do. It rubs me the wrong way. It butters my toast. It frosts my cookies. Because this kind of sounds like I'm stealing stuff. Like I'm stealing someone's good work. It's like, oh, you should pay for it. It's like, I did. This crap's expensive, man. Um, Also, even if I were required to buy a broadcasting or streaming license on top of paying for the game that I bought, pay $60 for a game, and then another $10 for a license to stream it online. Okay. Here's the thing, though. In almost all circumstances, I would imagine, the developers would not see any of this money. So, while I might understand you saying, hey, the developers work hard, they get crunched, it's sadly an abusive industry. If buy the game, that's great, but if you're going to stream it online for others to enjoy, you are profiting, in part at least, off the hard work of other people, and they should see a cut of that. Let's say I agree. In the system we are living with now, so far as the video game industry goes, the developers would not see any of that. It would just go to the the publishers and the executives. The people who already make millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars at the expense of the developers. And Mr. Hutchinson, I would hope, knows that because he is the creative director at Typhoon Studios. So this isn't just some random person with a hot take. This, to me, and I don't know him personally, and I've never heard anything other than these 2 tweets from the man. But it definitely, or rather, it certainly, to me, sounds like someone who is not satisfied with the amount of money they're earning for the work they do and wants more. Well, hey, I'm not satisfied with the amount of money I make for the work I do, and I want more. But, yeah, I do see a difference between streaming a video game and streaming other forms of media. A game is meant to be played. When I stream a game for you, you can't play it. So it's not the same experience. Movies are meant to be watched. So if I stream a movie for you, it's the same experience. as you would have if you, unless your internet connection sucks. It's the same experience you'd have if you bought the movie yourself or streamed it from Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu or whatever. Music, it's for listening to. If I just buy a song and then stream it for you, you're just listening to the song. So I can understand the argument for some forms of media, like books, like movies, like music. But for video games, I feel, and this is my opinion, I feel it's different. Because I feel that playing a game is what makes the game a game. Feel free to disagree. Let's see. Lyrically says, yet Stadia marked their system. By the way, the Typhoon, who he's the creative director of, was bought by Google last year to make Stadia games. Stadia marketed their system big around streaming, and if anyone who does it, though, through Stadia buys the game. Chaos says, in all fairness, he was probably referring to people that request review codes, then use that to stream. Still a bad take. Um, it's possible he meant that. I'd, Twitter, one of the drawbacks is a lack of context. There's only so many words fit in a tweet, so if that's what he meant, true. There's nothing in these tweets that indicates that, but it's certainly a possibility, and if so, that does soften it a bit. But yeah, because I mean, if you hmm, it's an interesting point. I'm looking at it from that perspective. It's like, all right, I made a video game, and now someone says, hey, get me a review code. And I give them a review code, and then they stream the game online and make money doing it. It's like, huh. It's an interesting perspective. Lyrically says his clarification was not there. Yeah, I don't know if that's what he meant or not, but it says streamers worried about getting their content pulled because of they used music they didn't pay for. It's like, what is he talking about? Like when my content gets flagged, it's because of music in the game that I already bought. It's like, is that what he's talking about, or are there streamers out there who play different music that I would assume that? I mean, it almost sounds like what he's saying is like there's streamers out there who pirate music and play that over the game that they're streaming that they pirated. Because he says music they didn't pay for and games they didn't pay for. Now, he might, by didn't pay for, he might be referring to an ostensible license to stream, but still, yeah. Oh, by the way, let's see, where is it? Google, for its part, issued a statement saying the recent tweets by Alex Hutchinson, creative director at the Montreal studio of Stadia Games and Entertainment, do not reflect those of Stadia, YouTube, or Google. So, yeah. I mean, I'd like to make more money too, but I might be more inclined or more amenable to the idea of paying some type of licensing fee to stream games if the people that actually made the games got the money. Like, I Bobby Kotick does not need more of my money. Like the developers, for the most part, when we're talking about the big popular games, not indie games and such, they're made by a couple people. Um, the developers who we all love and feel sorry for because they exist in environments of crunch and abuse and all kinds of horrible stuff, they don't see any of our money. They got paid already, and then a lot of times they get fired because they get burned out and chew them up and spit them out kind of thing. So yeah, I'm not inclined to spend $60 on a game and then even more to fatten execs' pockets because they're never satisfied with the amount of money they get. So, Lyrically says, but wouldn't a company who sends a review code place an embargo on it where they can't stream it? They might. I know they place embargoes on what they can, what you can talk about, what you can show, and I imagine that would probably you could put a rider in there that says no streaming the game until it's out, in which point you can do whatever you want with it. And unless you're signing an actual contract, you can do whatever you want with what someone gives you. But if you don't acquiesce to their whims, they're not going to give you codes in the future, is the thing. But, yeah, interesting take, Mr. Hutchinson. So, what about you, fine folks? If the developers actually got any of the money, would you be amenable to possibly paying an addition to broadcast fee or streaming fee for your video games? I probably wouldn't, just because I'm, especially right now, very budget conscious. Like, I have not purchased a video game this year. I think I don't think I've purchased any video games this year. Uh, so, last topic I would like to talk about is did you know that they made a Tremors 7? Because they made a Tremors 7. It's on Netflix. I guess it's, I don't stream anyway, so whatever. Yeah. Um, Lyrically C says it depends on the specifics of the digital license. Yep, naturally, I just mean the general idea. Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't, but I'd be much more comfortable with the idea if I knew that the people who actually made the game, instead of the people who exploit the people who make the game, the people who make the game, I want to have my money, not the people who exploit the people who make the game. Those they have enough money. Anyway, so Tremors Part 7. I like Tremors. What a wonderful film. I even really like Tremors 2. I thought it was really good. I mean, man, those 90s CG effects are bad, but fun cast. It was well written. It was smartly done. They a lot of really fun scenarios. Um, Rough CG, but I thought it was quite a good follow up to the original. Not the wonderful classic that the original movie is, but a fun movie that I quite enjoyed. Tremors 3, not as good, but had enough really good moments in it. Also had one really annoying damn character in it. Um, yeah, the Cactus Jack or whoever it was, he sucked. Um, and then they brought that character back for the TV series, which was actually pretty good. I don't know why Sci-Fi Channel decided to destroy it by airing it at all completely out of order and at different times so no one could find it or follow the plot because they aired it out of order. Didn't even air all the episodes. That's like they destroyed it on purpose, which is a shame because the show was fun. Then they made Tremors 4, which was a prequel, which was cute. It was again not great, but just a lot of fun. And then it went quiet for a while. And then they made Tremors 5, which was bad. It had some moments, but overall it was, I mean, who's the guy in it? Burt Gummer's long lost son shows up. It's like Jamie Kennedy or someone. He's terrible. He's just bad character. Bad character. Didn't like him. Um, Not a good movie. Then they made Tremors 6, also not a good movie. But I appreciated that they were trying to do something different, as they do with all of them. Tremors 6 is like, ooh, let's graboids in the snow. Well, that's great, but there's only like one scene in the movie that's in the snow. It's like they started shooting in the snow and went, oh man, this sucks. It's cold. We don't have the budget for this. And then they just decided not to. 5 and 6 are disappointing, nowhere near as good as the first four, but they're watchable. So I watched 7 this week. And again, I must laud the filmmakers for genuinely just trying something new. This one's kind of a most dangerous game riff where someone brings graboids to an isolated tropical island to hunt them for sport. You know, bring really stupid rich people who like shooting at things that don't move much. you know, fish in a barrel type of hunting. Okay, that's a fine setup for a Tremors movie. All right. This is, in my very humble opinion, the worst movie of the seven. Um, there are really no good characters in it. Um, the editing is bad. Like it just it feels like they didn't get all the footage they needed and did not have the budget to go back and go get it. For example, there's one part where some of our heroes are walking through the jungle, and then suddenly and then cut, and he's puking over the corpse of a graboid that has its stomach has bursted open and the shriekers had come out. And it's like, wait, what? There's no shot of them walking up on this thing or going, what's that? Oh my gosh! It's just walking through the forest, walking through the forest. It's like, hell? Scene missing. Um, Also, they had a nice location to work with, so good on them there. But um, the there's almost no practical effects, creature-wise. Um, that said, the CG modeling for the creatures is decent, good enough. But they clearly didn't have the budget to actually show them more than a couple of money shots, because most of the kills are done completely off screen and to the point where you genuinely are not clear what happened. Like, there were a couple times in the movie, it was like, was that character eaten by a graboid or a shrieker? I'm not really sure. You remember in the first movie, well, hell, the first several movies, where they did that effect where you could see the graboid tunneling through the dirt? They don't do that here. They just set up charges in the ground, and the ground kind of explodes in a line. That doesn't look like a monster moving under the earth. There's actually one shot later. My guess is their location, it was just swampy, wet, muddy, grassy forest floor, and they couldn't drag stuff through. There was no loose dirt to drag stuff through to do that effect, so they just had to plant charges and start blowing up the ground. There is one shot later where they put some mulch or wood chips down or something and managed to get what looks like a graboid moving around. The movie frequently ignores the rules of its own universe. Like, you've got to be quiet, and then they're just kind of walking around and talking and not actually being quiet, and it doesn't really matter. Um, I'm going to spoil the ending of Tremors Part 7. So if you want to watch it, maybe check out and come watch the end of the podcast later. So here we go. Spoilers. Burt Gummer dies. And which is okay. Michael Gross is probably in his like 70s. He probably doesn't want to do this forever. But they gave the character the stupidest, most insulting exit I've ever seen. He essentially, not essentially, he does literally jumps into the graboid's maw while flipping off the audience. He's like, I'm out, bitches! And there's literally no reason for him to do that. You know, in the first movie where Kevin Bacon lures the graboid to the end of the cliff and jumps out of the way and the graboid goes flying off the edge of the cliff, they do that again, but there's two people, and so they're running away from the graboid, and Bert pushes the other guy and then just kind of jumps and flips him off and then gets swallowed by the graboid as it goes over the cliff. I mean, it was a really crap anticlimactic ending anyway, but I mean, he doesn't go out. I mean, maybe that was an attempt to be badass, but it just kind of felt insulting. That middle finger felt directed at the audience to me rather than the other guy. Most all the other characters are very one note. Sometimes an enjoyable note, but very one note. I feel like maybe there was an attempt to do strong female character, but their idea of strong female character was all the women are in short shorts and crop tops. Aside from the problematic nature of the whole idea of strong female character, that's not how you do it. They actually have a couple, looks like there was an attempt at diversity in the cast, but the two characters of color that I can think of, I don't think they have any dialogue. I don't really. I think the lady actually has like one line of dialogue, but neither of them really do much. Kind of disappointing. Yeah, I didn't like Tremors 7. Like a year or two ago, they shot like a pilot for a new Tremors TV series, I think, and they leaked a trailer for the pilot, and it looked like it could be pretty cool, but it got canceled, so that's a shame. There's no One of the great things about the early Tremors movies is they're just really smartly put together. The ecology and life cycles of the graboids and its various iterations are sensical within the universe and really interesting and create new and unique problems for the characters to solve. The characters always get themselves in weird scrapes that they figure really clever ways to get out of, and then something happens that just screws them over. And 2 does this really well, where um, they figure out that the Shriekers see heat signatures, so just they're walking past a Shrieker just holding like a door in front of them, so it's masking their heat signature. And then Bert has this, he brings this maximum penetration gun because he thinks he's hunting graboids, and he shoots a Shrieker with it, and it explodes, but the bullet goes through the Shrieker, through the wall behind it, and through the engine block of the car that they needed to use to escape. And they're like, how was I supposed to know that was there? And so, one time, there's a bunch of Shriekers around, and Bert's like, okay, so I'm gonna get them to chase me, and he has them chase him into a warehouse, and he runs out the other side and shuts the door, and then runs around the warehouse and shuts the door, and he's like, haha, I've trapped the Shriekers. And they're like, hey, what's in the boxes in the warehouse? And it's food, and the shriekers multiply like rabbits when they get food. And he's like, I didn't know that was in there. So now they've got even more shriekers. You know, it keeps going like that. It's really wonderfully done. Nothing like that in this movie. Nothing. Not a thing. Nothing. They do add one idea in that the shriekers actually use their shriek to um, debilitate their prey. So they'll shriek really loud, and you go ah, and you can't move. That's that's a fine idea. They never actually do anything with it, though. One of the graboids is like Godzilla size, but they don't do anything with that either. It does eat an elephant. You don't see that. You just hear that our elephant's gone. Hey, well, check its tracker. Where is it? Oh, it's like 13 meters under the ground. The elephant's under the ground. That's kind of funny, but again, they don't do anything with it. How'd the graboid get off the island and to the other island? I, I guess it dug under the ocean. They don't really say, or I missed it. The major bad guy just they kind of touch with the graboid is hunting specific people, but nothing really ever comes of that. The main bad guy just gets grabbed and dragged into the water, but you never see anything. Like, there's no good kills in the movie because they don't have the budget to actually do anything. And I hate crapping on a movie because I'm sure people worked really hard on it, but this movie's bad. And that's a shame because I like the IP. I really do. Um, if they make a Tremors 8, will I watch it? Sure. Yeah. I hope this is the nadir, though, because I I don't want to see anything worse than this. None of the none of the character performances are bad. Michael Gross is still game. All the other characters are fine. They just don't really have characters to to work with. A lot of the actors are just succeeding on pure presence and charisma, and good on them. Uh, it's most of the photography is attractive. It's there are a lot of, so, like I said, editing issues, but most of them appear to be budget related. Like, we can't shoot this because we don't have the budget, so we have to cut around it as best we can. And we missed a scene. We either didn't have time to shoot it, or we forgot to script it in the first place, but we don't have a budget for pickups. That happens. Um, but the premise is fine, but there just weren't really any good ideas. You know, none of the fun, oh, our characters got themselves into this sticky situation. How are they going to solve it? Oh, that's clever. Oh, but that solution caused this other problem. What are they going to do now? There's just none of that. Bummer. Bummer. So, that's it. That's the podcast. I don't know what I'm going to do with this car seat and diaper bag. I guess hang on to it for a couple of years until I see my friend again and then say, hey, here you go. I doubt this fits your baby anymore. I don't think your baby needs diapers anymore. But I mean, I can't. I feel bad throwing it away. I should probably text her and say, should I just chuck this stuff or hold on to it or what? Do diapers expire? I mean, and the shorts and t-shirt there probably not going to fit the kid in half a year. So yeah, yeah. So hey, come back tomorrow at noon Pacific Standard Time, and we'll stream a game. A game I actually, I own, I paid for. Um, I'm not going to pay any more for the privilege of streaming it, but you can watch if you like. Could be fun. I have no idea what the hell I'm streaming. I need to figure that out. So that's it for tonight. I must eat dinner now, and maybe play Monster Hunter World because there are monsters that need hunting. I like the buff body armor. The problem is it's like you're wearing a skin suit, so it's one color no matter what your character's skin tone is. I really wish they'd match the skin color of the buff body armor to your character's skin color, so I didn't have to actually get... You can actually change the color, but I don't want to. I shouldn't have to. Just make the damn thing the color of my character's skin. Golly, I guess it is too much to ask. Oh well. Check out my Extra Life donation page right there, and I'll see y'all tomorrow for some game streaming fun. Good night, everyone.